Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So today's video is a little different than my kind of normal standard video, but it's one that hopefully it can help out a lot of you, because this is some of the things that I'm going to talk about today are some things that I see pop up in questions on different homesteading groups, prepping groups, and then also questions that I occasionally get sent to me by email. And what I want to talk about is choosing the best homestead slash bug out vehicle, to use a prepping term, that fits within your budget and that will kind of work with everything. And before you click off on this video, because there's going to be some, it's like, it's not another bug out vehicle video. That's not what this is. So stick with me, because it's a little different than your standard prepping bug out video for vehicles. What I want to cover is something that we've kind of experienced ourselves. As many of you know that's watched this channel for a while, we've gone through kind of a struggle with vehicles lately. Our two vehicles kind of up and died on us, and we were without a vehicle for a while, and trying to find something that worked the best for us within the budget that we had, not wanting to go into debt and get into a monthly payment system. We wanted to be able to pay cash for something, but something that met the needs as best as it could within that budget. And that's very difficult for a lot of you. I see a lot of people that they move out to Homestead and they realize that they need a truck. They realize they need something bigger than their maybe a Toyota Corolla or their minivan, so that they can haul things around. They want something that's durable. They want something that is easy to work on. They want something that they don't have to go into a lot of debt for, because doing this kind of lifestyle, you want to stay out of debt as much as possible. But they also want something that can haul the family around, because a lot of times it may be the only vehicle or the primary vehicle. And if you have kids, you want to be able to do that. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. And I want to talk about just how myself and my wife, both of us together and then on our own, we would think about this and try to find something. And I want to talk about it in today's world, because that is a big factor right now. The used car market is just ridiculous. Reported a few days ago that CNN is reporting that inflation in the used car market is about 45% now, that the prices are inflated around 45%. And they've been steadily going up since the beginning of the year. And new cars are just as ridiculous in price and in becoming very, very difficult to get, especially new trucks. So if you did have the money or were willing to go into debt, which I would advise against that if you're homesteading and in this lifestyle, there's just hard to get. Even a newer vehicle, the prices are just ridiculous. And so based on all that, I wanted to talk about this. Now, one thing I want you to remember, I'm not on here in this video trying to tell you that this truck that we got is the perfect bug out vehicle. There's a lot of, or the perfect homestead video. There's a lot of guys that do videos like that, a lot of people, and that's fine. And I don't want it to be that way, because this vehicle does not meet all the things that we wanted. Everything that we wanted in a vehicle, this vehicle does not meet, and I'll explain that along the way in this video. But it does meet enough of them that we felt it was a good purchase. And sometimes that's just how it is when you're living this lifestyle and you're living on a very tight budget. You don't have lots of money to dump into something. You're just wanting something that's reliable, that you can use around the homestead. And that, if the world comes to an end and you need to get home or to another place, it will get you there also. And while you're doing that, also pick up groceries throughout the week, take the whole family and doing the things that just a normal family does throughout the week. So that's hopefully what we will cover in this video. When we were looking for a vehicle, like I said, we had a pretty small budget. At least a small budget in today's world, in the 2021 market. Now, if we were purchasing a truck, say 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal to find what we needed within our budget. But considering that prices are just ridiculous, and we even saw that here. I mean, we looked at vehicles that were, trucks that were 20 years old, that had over 300,000 miles, that had rust all over the place, in the frame and in the bed, or they had major mechanical problems, not something that you could just buy and turn around and pass an inspection. And people were asking, $7,000 and $8,000 or even more. I saw vehicles, trucks that were, 30 years old, in good shape, but still 30 years old, that were selling for $25,000 and $30,000. In fact, I noticed one locally here. A guy has a truck that's 2010, and he's asking $31,000 for it, for an 11, 12-year-old vehicle, which is just, in my mind, ridiculous. Nothing special about it. It's just a farm truck. So it makes it more difficult to find. You have to really weed through a lot of junk. And one of the reasons why it's hard to find a good one on the used market is, from what I'm hearing, a lot of these car lots, the used car lots and the new car lots, they're going around and they're buying up a lot of the good, decent used cars and trucks to put on their lots, because there's just not enough new cars in production right now to do that. There's I've seen for myself up in St. Louis, it was a lot, a store lot, not a store, not like a used car lot, but a lot that Ford used to just store all of their vehicles. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vehicles, just a huge sea of Ford pickup trucks, still with the white plastic wrapper all on them, and none of them had microchips, according to the people that I spoke to in that area. They were just sitting there because they didn't have chips to put into the trucks to sell them. So if you are in the market of becoming a homesteader, or maybe you've already done that, and I get people all the time. In fact, I was communicating with someone just this morning that's looking to move here in the Ozarks and asking for questions. They had questions and wanting advice and stuff. This is something that you're going to face at some point. So having a truck is it's just really a necessity. When you're living this lifestyle, you can do it with a car, you can do it with a minivan, you can do it with an SUV, but at some point in time, you're going to need a pickup truck. And you're going to find yourself either looking to buy one or trying to borrow one from someone. So in the long run, I would suggest trying to find yourself a good, decent pickup truck. Now, here's some of the things that we were thinking about. Number one, obviously to fit within our budget. Nothing really, really big, okay? We wanted something that we could all fit in. So it needed to hold at least 5 to 6 people. Obviously an extended cab or a 4-door, quad cab, or whatever different manufacturers call them. We wanted something that was 4-wheel drive, because living out like we do, these roads in the wintertime and in bad weather, they can get kind of treacherous, and so we really needed something that was 4-wheel drive. We wanted something that wasn't a piece of junk. I'm pretty good at fixing vehicles, but I wasn't looking to buy something to be a project vehicle. I wanted something that with either no or very little minor repairs, we could get it right on the road and work for us and not have to worry about, at least for a while, any major repairs. We wanted something that just wasn't a complete beater. What I mean by that is something that you can stick your arm through the bed of it, or because of the rust or things falling off of it. Some people, and it's okay, because we'll probably eventually get one if we can find one that fits what we want. Just having that type of old beater farm truck on the farm is actually a good idea, but we also wanted something to be a family vehicle, because like I said, right now the 2 vehicles that we had, and one of them was a family vehicle, have gone belly up. So this is the only vehicle that we have now that functions like it's supposed to. So we have all those kind of stipulations. Then we're looking at it from a homestead and a little bit of prepping a mindset. And one of those things that we wanted was a 3/4 ton pickup. We would have liked to have had a diesel And we wanted something that was fairly easy to work on. We did not want something very new. A lot of people really like the new vehicles, and there are some good new vehicles out there, or newer. To me, a new vehicle is probably from the 2015 now, on to new one, or maybe even a 2010. So let's say in the last 10 years, a newer vehicle, because they're just nicer, right? They're plush. They have much more modern amenities in them. They're comfortable riding. They look good, and so a lot of people like that. Us, on the other hand, we weren't really concerned with that. We wanted something that was easy to work on, that was cheap to work on, that was something that I could easily find parts for, especially if things really get bad, because they're already getting bad. It's already difficult to find parts. But could I go to a salvage yard or some junkyard, which they do exist, pretty easily to find around here in the Ozarks, and maybe find the parts that I need off of that? Or could I even buy a parts truck for very little money and just park it on the property and have that truck as a parts truck? Find something that's this make and model that's quite cheap, a few $100s, and set it there and use it for my own parts. We also wanted something that wasn't too modern, because the more modern they are, even though they have definitely, there's an increase in durability in some areas, because they're modern, there's also a lot more to go wrong with them. There's all kinds of chips and relays and computers and sensors and stuff to go wrong, and so we wanted to try to find something that had less of that on it. We didn't care that if it had power windows or not. We didn't care if it had some infotainment center built into the dash. We didn't care about power seats, anything like that. We just wanted something that was durable. So what we have here is an example. And remember, it's not perfect and it doesn't meet all of those. This is a 2001 Dodge Ram. It is just a half-ton pickup, and it just has a gasoline engine in it. So it didn't meet that 3/4 ton. We found, at least currently in the market, in our budget, if we went for a 3/4 ton, we were going to either have to give up the extra seating, and not everyone could go, or we were going to have to give up the fact that it, wasn't wore out. We looked at some that did have extra seating, but they had a lot of miles on them, and they were probably near the end of their life, especially needing some major repair on them. This vehicle, it only has 150,000 miles on it, which for its age is quite good. The previous owner appeared to be very meticulous in his taking care of it. There's records for virtually everything that's been done to it, and there's almost nothing wrong with this vehicle. There's only like one tiny little ding in the tailgate of it, but there's no dents or anything, or even scratches on the finish. He basically only used it to drive to and from work. It was never an off-road vehicle, never a farm vehicle, never a towing vehicle. It does have just a little bit of surface rust popping up around the wheel well, which was very common in any of these aged vehicles, regardless of what you did to them. It has been treated within the last year or so with a rust stop so that it's not growing, but eventually I will get that off of there and sand it down and repaint it. But it's not eaten through the metal or anything. It's just a little surface rust on the paint. So that's the only thing that was wrong with this. It has a new transmission in it. It has a lot of new parts to it in the last year. Parts that would just normally be needed to replace, in this age of a vehicle, so that they've been replaced, and there's records showing that they've been replaced over the past year. Well, that certainly makes it a better buy for us. I said earlier that simplicity and the ability to work on a vehicle is also very important for us. This doesn't have the best engine that was ever made by any manufacturer, but it has a very durable engine, and the big thing for me is it has an engine in it that's actually pretty easy to work on. This has the 5.9 Magnum, which is the old 360 Ford engine in it. These engines, you can find these things in just about any junkyard, anywhere. So, you know, if I wanted to, I could easily find an engine somewhere and probably stick it in my garage and slowly work on it and have a spare rebuilt engine ready to pop into this the day that the engine finally decides to go belly up. But they are a very durable engine. And probably very close to being as common as a Chevy 350. Remember, I've talked about this in past videos. The ability to fix your own things, and not just the ability, but the knowledge is going to be very important. We live in a disposable society where you own a TV for a couple of years or so, and it goes bad, and you throw it away and you buy a new one. Whereas our parents and grandparents, if something went wrong, if an appliance failed, they would either repair it themselves or hire a repair person. We don't live in a society like that anymore. And the harder it's going to be to get parts, the more expensive it's going to be, and the difficulty of finding someone to repair things that we're probably going to start seeing more and more means that you need to be able to work on your own vehicles and your own things around the farm. You know, can you repair a lawnmower or a chainsaw or even a refrigerator? Can you repair your washing machine? These are things that you really should think about, and it's stuff that we think about. And occasionally when we find something that is similar to what we have, for instance, washing machines, I have spare parts for washing machines that I can use, that if something goes wrong with our washing machine, I can, you know, repair it right here, right now, because I have the parts for it. It's the same way with our vehicles. We try to pick up spare parts for ones that would fit our vehicle if we can find them at a reasonable price, especially used, and keep them for the day that it might need to be repaired. So again, trying to choose a vehicle that's easier to repair is very important. Most of these vehicles nowadays, the average person just almost cannot repair them unless you're a very trained mechanic and you have the equipment needed to diagnose the vehicle and repair it. The average person just isn't able to work on their own vehicle anymore. Whereas in my childhood, and probably a lot of you listeners' childhoods, you grew up around a parent, a father, a grandfather, and uncle that they worked on their own vehicles. It was just common, and you probably do too. Making sure that you're not getting something so new that you can't work on it, that's going to be problematic for you. Finding a vehicle also that will do the things that you need to do around the homestead and get you where you need to go is also important, whether it's from a homesteading or a bug-out vehicle apocalyptic scenario. You want to find something that's capable of getting the job done. Like I said, this is not a 3/4 ton, and we had hoped to find a 3/4 ton, and maybe eventually we will. We figure that we'll hold on to this vehicle probably till it falls apart, because it's been so well maintained and such a clean truck. There's no reason to get rid of it. But eventually we might try to find a 3/4 ton truck to have something that's a little heavier duty. For most things on a homestead, a 1/2 ton pickup will do it. But I guarantee you, because I have done this for many, many years and grown up around small farming, you will find a day that you need something that's at least a 3/4 ton or maybe a 1 ton pickup. Having something that's heavy duty is quite important. And if you can find a good 3/4 ton pickup right off the bat, I would suggest getting it. You're probably going to lose a little gas mileage. They don't ride as well, but if you can find one that's good quality and meets your needs, I would certainly go ahead and do that. And that was the one thing that we weren't able to find in our price points that we really wanted, and we had to kind of give up. But this one does. It is a 4-wheel drive. It has very good tires on it. In fact, the tires are less than 2 months old. They're 10-ply tires, which means that the rubber is much thicker. It doesn't have as good a ride because of that, but if you're going to live out like this, especially on these gravel roads and stuff, having 10-ply tires are going to be really important. They have a little bit better durability. They don't get holes poked in them near as much, which happens on these gravel roads, and they help with any kind of hauling and towing that you might end up doing. This truck does have a small lift on it. It wasn't necessarily what we wanted in a lift. I didn't care about that. But it's not one that's so high that it makes the truck ridiculous and I would end up wanting to take the thing off. I just wanted a good, durable farm truck that would get us all around. And this one does that. The suspension has been replaced and repaired in the last year or so. So just the normal wear and tear on the suspension, the steering and the front end that you would find in a vehicle has been repaired on this. That is something else to be aware of. Trucks, especially ones that work in a farming type of environment out in the country, they take a lot of wear and tear on the front end, the ball joints, the bearings, different things like that. So you want to be aware of that. You may not find one that doesn't, that the front end is all perfect and good to go. You may have to repair it yourself. And so that's another thing that you might look into, is how easy is it to repair. Some vehicles are easier than others to do repair work on the front end. And if you're not a master mechanic, you certainly should probably do some research on the vehicle that you're looking into buying and how easy it would be to repair these things. This is something that we did and have done before. When we're looking to purchase a vehicle, we research different ones and find out the durability of that vehicle, what its fail points are, how easy it is to work on. I've even watched videos of mechanics working on different vehicles just to find out which one is easy to work on, which one is really difficult, and try to stay away from the ones that are more difficult, that might require specialized tools, that might require more expensive parts, or just generally a big pain in the hind end to fix. So when you're in the market of looking for a Homestead vehicle that would also work as something like a end of times apocalyptic vehicle, I hope some of these suggestions work. Again, you're probably not going to find everything you want in a vehicle, and if you do, congratulations. But for most people that have a fairly small budget, it's going to be difficult to find what you need, especially considering the world that we live in right now, where things are just more expensive and it's becoming harder and harder to find things that work for us because people are just buying them up. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. I'll answer whatever I can, and hope that this helps in your journey of self-sufficiency and preparedness. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.